So without further ado, let's cut to the chase and take a look at an ordinary surgical mask, and I'm using a vape. As you can see, that vape, which has aerosols the same size as COVID-19 or larger, goes through and around a surgical mask. Now, if we take a cup mask and have a good look at it, here we go. Notice it goes right through the mask easily and goes in every direction. The aerosol is not affected by the mask in any material. Now we look at a surgical mask with a foam strip to protect above and keep my glasses from fogging. Lo and behold, the aerosols go all around it. Has no effect on me spreading aerosols to you. Now a cloth mask I borrowed from my wife. Once again, here we go. Boom, straight through and around. It has no effect on the spread of aerosols. They go everywhere. And then I went and bought a guard mask with a high efficiency filter material. That one, here we go. Watch for it. Through and around. It had no effect on the vape aerosol, which remember is the same size or larger. Now, I don't have an N95 mask. I have these shop respirators where they can put all kinds of things in them, but they're like an N95 because when you breathe out, everything goes out through a valve. Guess what? It might protect me from you. It sure isn't going to protect you from me. Let's look at that again. Boom. Any mask with a button on it has a valve that lets everything go from you to your neighbor. It has no effect on anything. I think you can get the picture now. There is absolutely nothing that any of these masks do to protect you from me. And the fact is that unless I have a mask which is fully sealed and where I breathe through the filter material both directions, and I have a really high quality filter, nothing is going to protect in either direction. Because just the same way that the vape went out, around, and through, it will come in, around, and through. Aerosols will not be stopped by masks.
Happy Independence Day, guys. This is not about your independence. This is about taking your freedom away. This is about manipulation and control, because this does not work.
So if this doesn't work, why are we forced to wear this? Why are we forced to wear this? This is mind manipulation, guys. So this is where you wake up.
Wearing of a mask is unnecessary. Let's just see if we see hands here. Okay. Yeah, I'm seeing about 80% here, 80% probably, 70%.
In March, Dr. Fauci said about, you're not supposed to be wearing a mask in the middle of a pandemic. It is there in the video. You can check it out.
There's a lot of confusion among people and misinformation surrounding face masks. Can you discuss that?
Right now in the United States, people should not be walking around with masks.
You're sure of it? Because people are listening really closely to this.
Right now, people should not be walking. There's no reason to be walking around with a mask. When you're in the middle of an outbreak, wearing a mask might make people feel a little bit better, and it might even block a droplet, but it's not providing the perfect protection that people think that it is. And often, there are unintended consequences. People keep fiddling with the mask and they keep touching their face.
And can you get some schmutz sort of staying inside there?
Of course.
Yes, and we also have like 150 doctors on a panel who basically 80-90% of them said that wearing a face mask is pretty ineffective.
And great, so let's get the consensus here. I guess to get the best question would be to raise your hand if you believe that the wearing of a mask is unnecessary. Wearing of a mask is unnecessary. Let's just see if we see hands here. Okay, so I'm gonna go through here and see these hands. Okay. Yeah, I'm seeing about 80% here, 80% probably, 70%.
Well, my follow-up question would be, how many people concur that it actually is contributing to the suppression of the immune system, that's actually making people sicker by wearing the mask? Not that it's not necessary, that it's actually making it worse.
Okay, hands up if you do. And I see Dr. Grant and Dr. Schmidt, and there's quite a few people here. All right, hold your hands. If you can just keep those up, we're just going to scroll through those. Wow. Okay, so quite a lot of people saying it's worse. Almost.
So notice what, like Dr. Wells, for example, he didn't raise his hand when it said it wasn't necessary, but he raised his hand when he said that it's detrimental. So some of the people that didn't raise their hand when we asked the question if it's not necessary, they were waiting for that next question. So they were anticipating that somebody's going to ask that it's worse. That's even more important, Brian. So you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, so basically, and we've got probably 80-90% of the doctors here saying it's actually more harmful for you to wear a mask.
So, we have a video where the doctor of the WHO, her name is Dr. Maria Karkov, and she's the one. You can play the video later on. We have the video.
The second part of your question is what proportion of asymptomatic individuals actually transmit. So the way that we look at that is we look at these individuals need to be followed carefully over the course of when they're detected and looking at secondary transmission. We have a number of reports from countries who are doing very detailed contact tracing. They're following asymptomatic cases, they're following contacts, and they're not finding secondary transmission onward. It's very rare. And much of that is not published in the literature. From the papers that are published, there's one that came out from Singapore, looking at a long-term care facility. There are some household transmission studies where you follow individuals over time and you look at the proportion of those that transmit onwards. We are constantly looking at this data, and we're trying to get more information from countries to truly answer this question. It still appears to be rare that an asymptomatic individual actually transmits onward.
The World Health Organization officials on Tuesday walked back the comments below that were made on Monday after drawing criticism from epidemiologists across the world. Dr. Maria van Kerkhove, head of the WHO's Emerging Diseases Unit, said Tuesday that asymptomatic spread is a really complex question, and much is still unknown. We don't actually have that answer yet, she said. I was responding to a question at the press conference. I wasn't stating a policy of WHO or anything like that. I was just trying to articulate what we know, she said in a live Q&A streamed across multiple social media platforms. And in that, I use the phrase very rare, and I think that's misunderstanding to state that asymptomatic transmission globally is very rare. I was referring to a small subset of studies. But the truth is, the statement she made was based on data. She said originally, the data is showing us that it is very rare that asymptomatic cases are causing the transmission of COVID-19 or coronavirus. Now she says, well, that's not official WHO policy. Now here's the question. Why is it not official WHO policy if the data shows that that is the case?
There's another study which is done. An asymptomatic carrier was in touch with 445 people. This is a study. They were in touch with 455 people, and none of them got infected over a span of 1 month. So asymptomatic carriers, not that they're saying it themselves. So that is on paper, which is happening. So yeah, we are not threatening anybody. We proved that the masks. There's no scientific evidence for masks. There's no scientific evidence for an asymptomatic carrier from their own mouth.
感染力が本当に強く、そしてね、肺炎球菌をまき散らす、飛沫でね、感染するんだったらみんなマスクをしよう。お互い2人ともマスクをしてたら、おしゃべりしててもそんな感染しないじゃないですか。それなのにですよ、道に立ってですよ、フェスだ、お祭りだ、デモだ、なんだ、かんだと言ってですよ、マスクを外しましょうなどとね、このね、道通ってる時なんかね、嫌じゃないですか。絶対嫌ですよね、そんな人たちに近づくの。だっていつかかってるかわかんないし、無症状だったら別にいいとか言うんですよ。そういう問題じゃないんですよね、はっきり言って。ただの風邪でもですね、うつったら大変ですし、そのね、ただの風邪でね、お年寄りの方亡くなっちゃうかもしれないじゃないですか。そしてそいつらですね、マスクをしないで山手線一周しようとかね、バカなこともやっておりました。ふざけんなって感じですよね。マスクつけないで山手線乗って、じゃあそこで感染誰かがしてしまって死んでしまったら、これは殺人です。明らかに故意にマスクをつけないで乗ってふざけてたとしても、これはもう殺人でございます。コロナね、感染おじさん、感染希望おじさんとかいう人もいます。でもですよ、考えてもみてくださいね。てめえが勝手に感染するのは構いません。ですけどもね、その近くの人やその人と飲食店一緒になってしまった人、そこの従業員、すべてコロナにかかってしまったら、その人賠償できるんですか？どうするんですか？自分たちのね、濃厚接触どこでしましたかって聞いて、誰々さんのお店です、どこどこのお店ですって言ってね、感染しちゃったらね、その人たちがですよ、生活の保障をしてくれるんですか？そこのお店は閉鎖されます。そこの従業員はどうするんでしょうか？そこまで考えないでですね、自分勝手にね、フェスがしたい、ね、マスクはしたくない、遊びたい。だからね、私たちはね、マスクをしないで、皆さん、通りかかった人たちにですね、マスクはしなくていいんだ。厚生労働省が言っている。厚生労働省そんなこと言ってませんからね。ここのところ勘違いしないようにしてください。いろいろね、もう皆さん本当にコロナで大変です。東京都なんてですね、だからね、マスクしたくないって言うんだったらね、マスクしないで結構ですよ。ね、マスクしないで結構ですよ。あなたこの間、私に唾を引っ掛けたやつですよね。私がコロナになったらあなた全額ね、保証しなさいよ。で、したくないんだったらしたくないで、ライブハウスでも何でも借りてですね、自分たちだけで、キャッキャワーワーフェスでもね、何でもやってりゃいいんですよ。それをですよ、通行人の皆さんにですよ、話しかけてですよ、マスクをしないでね、いいんですよとかね、そんな情報を流す。WHO も言ってますよね。まあ私 WHO 嫌いなんですけどもね、健康機関ですね。健康保険機関ですね。そちらの方がですね、そんなことはないと。マスクはしてほしいと。それで感染リスクを減らしてほしい。皆さんの健康を害してほしくない。コロナは怖い病気なんだ。武漢肺炎は怖い病気なんだと、きちんと言っているのにもかかわらずですね、マスクしなくていいとか言ってほざいてる人はね、日本はね、支えの心、和の心を持って人のね、思いを分かってですね、マスクをきちんとして、暑くてもですよ、苦しくても、小さい子からおじいちゃんおばあちゃんまでですね、みんなマスクをしております。その心が持てないんだったらね、日本から出ていけばいいんですよ。ね。離島でも何でも無人島でも行ってね、マスクしないでフェスでも何でもやってりゃいいんですよ。なんでわざわざね、人がいるところでね、感染希望とかね、ただの風邪だからって言うんですかね。ただの風邪だってね、人に移したらね、大変なものなんですよ。それが悪化して死んだらどうするんですか？あなたたちがね、保証できるんですかっていう話なんですよ。それも考えずにね、山手線にマスクをしないで乗ってね、キャーキャー騒いでみたりですね。ウーバーイーツ誰か頼みました？大丈夫かな？なんか用ですかね。大丈夫？ウーバーイーツの人迷っちゃったんですかね。で、いろいろあるじゃないですか。それをですよ、もう平気なんだとかね、感染してもいいんだ。だから勝手に感染してくれよと。自分家で。ライブハウスでもいいですよ。感染してくれと。どうぞどうぞ感染してください。それでですね、感染しているかもしれないじゃないですか。マスクしてないんだから。だからね、保菌者でしょって、いつなるかわかんないんだから、あなたがはっきり言ってバイオテロのと保菌者でしょって言ったんですよ。 そしたらね、私はなんてない、だってあんた無症状でもあるかもしれないって言って、それでもいいんだって言ってたじゃないですか。ちょっと、ピーポー来たかなと思ったんだけど、大丈夫かな。ね、そうやって言ってるんですから、そういうおかしなことをね、言ってる人たちはですね、もうね、本当無人島かなんかでね、フェスでも何でもやってもらってですよ、自分たちだけでですよ、コロナ感染してもね、平気なんだ、ただの風邪なんだって言ってたらですよ、自分たちでかかっても病院も行かずね、もう生姜汁でも飲んでね、一日っていうかね、もう1ヶ月でも2ヶ月でも3ヶ月でも出ないでくれればいいと思いますよ。かかってもいいって言うんですからね、自分たちだけでかかってください。人にかけるなんてね、マスクを外そうなんてね、おこがましいんですよ。何様だっつうんですよ。ちょっと救急車来ました。